So now we're going to go into one of the courses and take a look around. So I'm going to click on the title of the course. And this course is set up to automatically open in the Lessons tab. And what the Lessons tab is basically all of the content for that course falls right within this area. I'm going to go over the different links that are up here at the top. So the one at the very far left at the top is the Syllabus tab. Not all instructors use the Syllabus tab, so if you click on it and you don't see anything, then it could just be that they have the syllabus loaded as a file under Lessons. And typically, you'll click on the Lessons tab and you may see the syllabus right at the top. The next tab over is the Calendar tab. Your instructor may or may not use the calendar. Also, something to keep in mind is that instructors can hide these tabs as well. So if you don't have all of these tabs in your course, it's just because the instructor doesn't use that section. This Resources tab, typically this section is used to connect to the library electronic reserves. And so if your instructor is using that feature, then this is where you will connect to that. The Communicate tab, we went over in the mail video as well. So here's where you can get to the course mail. You can also see a course roster of everybody else that is in the class, and then any course announcements that may have been made. So if I click on the course roster, you could actually say show pictures, and it'll show pictures of anybody that has an image uploaded into Angel. So that's kind of nice to get to know faces before you actually get to class. Let's click on the Report tab. And the Report tab is where you can obviously pull reports, and some of them that are very useful is, say for instance, activity logs. Right here is your name, so you just keep that the same. And you can actually configure the report to start whenever you want it and then end before now. So I could say start last month and ending before now, and I'm going to click on run. So the first thing that you see is this big chart, and this isn't exactly helpful information. So what I want to do is change this select report view to table, and now I can see my total activity for certain dates anyway, and that still might not be totally helpful. So then what I could do is change this to drill down, and what this will do is if I click on this little plus button, now it's going to show me exactly what I did when I was in the system. So if I think that I was in a quiz at a specific time and I need to relay that information to somebody, then I can come in here and I can actually pull up that information. Some of the other features that might be useful would be attendance, if your instructor uses the attendance feature in Angel. Perhaps forum posts might be useful if there's a forum in your course. So if I click on forum posts, and I'm going to say starting last month, ending before now, and I'm going to actually change this to table. I can see that I made 3 posts under this forum, discussion forum. And so if I know that I need to make posts for the rest of these and I have 0, then I know that I need to start writing. So take a look around at all the different reports that you can pull and see what might be helpful to you. The last link at the very top on the right hand side is grades, and obviously if you click on there, what you're going to see is your grades. So this is going to give you a grade for each item and then a category overall. So the categories typically fall as all of your homework or all of your quizzes or exams, etc. And it can give you an overall grade as well. Instructors can hide some of this information, so if you don't see it, it's just because the instructors do not show that to you in that specific course. So let's go back under the Lessons tab and go through some of the actual content that you might run into. And so in one of the other videos we already went through discussion forums, and so let's go over quizzes. So this is a folder and it is full of a bunch of quizzes, and you're going to know that it's a quiz by seeing this little icon on the left hand side. If I click on this link And this one actually says resume because I've already opened this quiz at another time, so it'll actually say resume. If I hadn't started one, let's see, I think maybe this testing 0.5, okay, so it says begin now. So I could actually click on begin now, and these are just sample questions. So some of the types of questions that you might run into would be multiple choice, fill in the blank, there can be algorithmic questions. Let's see, if I click on randomly pick and go into resume, there's matching questions as well, and then also true and false. So also another thing to keep in mind is that the quiz can show you questions either one at a time, and you have to click through. There will be a next button down here, or it may show you 10 of them at a time, or all of them at one time. That is up to the instructor and how they set it up. I'm going to go back into this testing half points. Some of the other good information that you can find is right here, the maximum number of attempts. So this is telling me that I'm allowed to take it one time. It's going to tell you a time limit. So I have unlimited time, but if an instructor only gives you 55 minutes, then you will see that here. And then the review mode is whether or not you're going to be allowed to review it when you're done. So that's some helpful information for you to take a look at before you start a quiz. So I'm going to go back under lessons. Instructors can also create links to specific websites under here, and if you see this icon right here with the little world in front of it, that's what that is. So it's going to take you to a website. So if I click on here, I actually have it set up to open in a new window as the instructor. So now I am at that website. So that's what that is. And let's go under Dropboxes, because Dropboxes have a few steps that you really need to be aware of. If I go into, and again, the same thing as with the others, if you see this icon with the little file in front of a folder, that's a Dropbox. So if I click on the title, it's going to give you any instructions that the instructor may have left for you. And typically the information that we ask that you put in the title is your name. So I'm going to say T trainer assignment number 1. If I've been instructed just to write a message within the Dropbox to an instructor, this is the box where you do that. And of course you have all of these different tools that you can use up above. If it's actually being used to upload a file, then you click on the attachments button. And so here's where a few steps come in that you don't want to miss. You have to choose the file first. And so I'm just going to choose a PDF. So now you can see that I've chosen the file. Now I need to click on upload file because I actually need to upload the file to the system. And so now the file is uploaded. Okay, so now I can click on finished. And what happens is now down below you'll see a link to it, and so you'll know that your file has been uploaded to this Dropbox. The last step that you need to remember to do is click on submit. If you do not click on submit, then this file does not actually get uploaded and your instructor will not be able to see it. So I'm going to click on submit, and then as long as you get this message, submission successful, then you should be fine. So just remember that when you're uploading a file to a Dropbox that you want to see the message of submission successful. So I'm going to click on OK. And now I actually see the assignment has been uploaded and been submitted, and on the date and the time. Another thing about the Dropbox is if your instructor uses a rubric, there will be a link right here that you can click on the rubric to see exactly what you're going to be graded on. A tool that can actually be really useful when you're trying to locate a specific file or content item is this index over on the far right hand side. So if I click on index, then I'm going to see a list of everything that is in this course, all of the different content items, whether it's a quiz, a Dropbox, a file, so I can take a look around. Now if you have a really large course, an even easier way to do it is I'm going to click on this little drop down arrow right here on the very left hand side. Now yours might not look exactly like this. This looks like an arrow because of the theme that's being used in this course. It may look like a set of teeth, like just a little bar. So if you click on it, this will open. This is your map, and there are different tools down below. And so there's a search tool. And so if you know that there's an assignment number 1 that you want to locate, you can actually just type it in, click on search, and right there is assignment number 1, Dropbox. So if I click on it, it's going to take me right to that Dropbox. So it's a very useful tool. So that's the search. Another thing that's nice is the what's new tool, and this is actually going to show you what's new depending on what you choose here. So if I say in the last 30 days what's new, then it's going to tell me there was one new submission, and it was the assignment number 3 Dropbox, and it was myself. So you can actually see what you've done in the last 30 days. So that's a nice tool to use as well. So that's about it for the basics of everything that falls within your course. If you run into any issues or have questions, be sure to ask your instructor. And thanks for watching.